Selecting the right set of tires can be daunting, and tires aren't cheap. You're spending some of your hard-earned money, so let's help you make the best choice when buying tires. In this video, we're going to cover the basics of what to look for when buying tires, factors to consider for your car, and intended use when you're buying the tires, and then we'll close out with some actual recommendations based on different budgets and use cases. If you know the basics but want to get right to the recommendations, just use the chapters feature and get to the part of the video that you need the info on. All right, let's get started with some of the basics. One of the questions we get asked somewhat frequently, and I also think many of you want to ask, but you're a little too scared, would be what in the world all the numbers mean when it comes to tire sizing that you see on a tire. Well, let's use a visual aid and get something on the screen when it comes to tire sizing. For this example, let's use a 225/45 R17. We'll keep that on the screen and use it to highlight what we're talking about. This is what you'll see on the sidewall of a tire, and those numbers and letters do mean something, so let's decode like the Da Vinci Code. The first number, and in this example, 225, is the tire's width. This is measured in millimeters from sidewall to sidewall, so a tire with 225 written here would be 225 millimeters wide. This is pretty simple. The second number, 45, is the aspect ratio. This is telling you how thick the sidewall of the tire is. Instead of an actual measurement in millimeters, 45 represents a ratio of height of the sidewall to the width of the tire. 45 means the sidewall height is equal to 45% of the width of the tire. The letter R means radial construction, which you'll find on pretty much any tire you're really looking at, unless you're trying to find some old school reproduction tires for an old school hot rod or muscle car, all that stuff. But we know that that isn't a big portion of our audience. The last number 17 following the letter R stands for the wheel size, not the rim size, the wheel size. 17 means the tire will fit on a 17-inch diameter wheel. Those are the basics, and there are some more numbers and letters that can pop up indicating speed rating or temperature rating. But in general, though, when we get into specific recommendations, those have already been factored in. If you really need to know more, I would just Google those letters you see or give us a call, and honestly, we can help you out with that too. The next thing we're going to knock out with the basics is tread wear. Tread wear is a number that is going to tell how soft and grippy a tire is or how hard and slippery that same tire would be. You'll usually see a 3-digit number with TW after it when you're looking at tires. That TW stands for tread wear. Kind of makes sense. The lower a tread wear number is, the grippier the tire is going to be. Those grippier tires will also wear down faster since that compound used in the tires is softer. The higher the tread wear number is, the less grip the tire will have and the harder the compound will be. These tires will last longer because the compound is harder, but you'll slip around a little bit when pushing the car to its limits. There's no magic number on what tread wear you should go with. It all kind of depends on really what you plan on doing with your car, which we're going to get into later. My personal rule of thumb, though, is that anything with a tread wear of 300 or lower is going to best serve you at the track or some serious canyon carving for, like a weekend cruiser you want to do some aggressive driving in. If it's a daily driver, I'd look north of 300 to kind of make sure you get the longevity out of the tires you need. You don't want to change them all the time because that gets expensive. Next on the basics list is going to be the seasons your tires are rated for. This is usually called out by the manufacturer pretty well, and on our website we list it as tire type when you're shopping. The majority of people buying tires are going to be getting all-season tires. Those tires work pretty well in, all seasons and all year round and in all weather conditions. It's a game of compromises, and the better they work in snow, the worse they'll work in the heat of summer on a dry road. If you want true performance in the summer, you'll want something that's called ultra high performance tires. And for the colder months, when you get snow, you're gonna want a dedicated set of winter tires, which I consider to be a game changer. Do it. It's the best thing I've ever done. The last thing I want to cover under the basics is warranties. I know, this sounds boring, but if you've ever had a flat tire and wish you could have gotten a free replacement or at least help towards that, you should study and read the manufacturer's warranties. Some manufacturers, like Continental, have some impressive warranties with roadside assistance that we have personally used. Corey on our team had to use it on a road trip once, and he has nothing but amazing things to say. He just talks about Continental warranty all the time. Now, let's move away from the basics, though, and talk about the factors to consider for your car and the intended use when you're buying tires. First things first, what in the world are you doing with your car? Not what you want to do, what are you going to actually be doing? And just like in our coilover video we posted, you have to be honest with yourself here. Most of you are going to be daily driving your car, so you want to be aware of that and not get super sticky low tread wear tires that you wear through in 2 months, and also they're going to bring your gas mileage down. Yes, sticky icky tires will affect your gas mileage. Ask anyone with an EV that puts some sticky tires on there. Well, that's not gas mileage, that's range. The other largest subset of you guys watching the video will have your car doing double duty. You'll be mainly daily driving your car, but it's going to get some mixed duty either at the track or maybe at the shows, some parking lot meets, that sort of stuff, or full out shows. If you're taking your car to the track, I'd recommend a dedicated track setup for wheels and tires right away here. You're going to chew through tires of the track pretty fast, and putting miles on with a daily driver is going to make them wear even faster. If you are mixing show and daily driving, that's really doable, honestly. I've done it before myself. The only call out here is that if you're running a bunch of negative camber because you're cool or you want to be cool to get the look and specific fitment you want, you'll be chewing through part of your tire pretty fast. Pro tip here, get a good alignment if you run a bunch of negative camber. If your toe is set properly, your tires will last longer. They'll still wear faster with a smaller contact patch, but you'll get more life out of them. For those of you remaining who have a dedicated track or show car, our recommendations will be a good place to start for you. You track boys though will have a specific need depending on the type of car you have and the type of driving you're doing and the type of track that you're gonna be at. We'll have some general recommendations, but you'll want to talk to people doing the same track driving you are doing for their personal recommendations. Speaking of recommendations, let's get started with some of those. We'll break it up via price point and have recommendations for daily driving, track, and show within the recommendations. The prices I'm using are for 18-inch size wheels, which is the most popular size that we sell. The budget breakdowns per set are under $600, $600 to $800, and $800 plus. Let's start with under $600. So in this category, under $600, let's start with some of the daily driver recommendations. First up is one of our most popular tires, the Vercelli Strada 2. Generally, you can get these around $400 per set, depending on the width of the tire. I've done quite a bit of daily driving on the Vercelli Strada 2, and honestly, they've been pretty good. The road noise is super minimal, and the grip is good considering this is a 500 treadwear tire we're talking about. I got stuck in a bad rainstorm with these, and the Vercelli Strada 2 performed really well in the wet. For you show guys, this is a tire that can actually stretch decently, but they do run a bit small when it comes to width compared to other tires, so keep that in mind for fitment. They're also affordable enough to replace with crazy camber wear. The directional tread design is nice, but it's not the sexiest tire out there, but for $400, it's honestly pretty good. If you plan on tracking your car, this might not be the option for you. I did throw a set of these on my drift car, and the front end definitely had some understeer, but for the rear, they lasted longer than I thought they would. These definitely wouldn't be my first choice when it comes to a track tire, but they aren't trying to be that. All right, so the next tire in the under $600 category I have is the Lexani LX UHP-207. That just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? This tire is a little bit more expensive and comes in around $500-ish per set. So these have been around for a bit, and they're really good tires for daily driving. They are 500 tread wear as well, and they fit the bill similar to the Vercelli Strada 2 with a directional tread pattern and fitting a little small to spec. If you're a show guy, I think these have a leg up on the Strada 2 since the tread pattern is a bit more aggressive in my opinion, and the shoulder of the tire has a little bit more meat to take that camber wear better. When it comes to track duty, these are similar to the Strada 2s. You won't be winning any grip races, but if you want some burners for the rear, these hold up pretty well as long as you heat cycle them. Last but certainly not least is one of my personal favorite tires, the Ironman iMove Gen 3. These are a little below $500 per set. For daily driving duty, they are fantastic. I've put thousands of miles on them, and I've really had zero issues. They are non-directional, so the tire rotations are easier, and they are a good all-season tire. They struggle a bit when there's snow on the ground, but you'll get where you need to go. Just gotta be a little bit careful. Oh, I said that wrong. Oh my God. For you show guys, these definitely aren't the sexiest. I'm just gonna say it. I'd recommend the Lexani for show duty or a mix of show and daily driving over the Ironman. Now, if you have an Ironman themed car, I think these are the perfect addition for you show guys. Track guys, these are pretty good for the price point they're at. This is the lowest treadwear of the three, coming in at $380, so they have some grip. I've tracked them a ton, and honestly, the grip is pretty good. I'd say for an autocross type thing or lower speed kart tracks, these can be an affordable option for some weekends of the track, and then daily duty most of the time, kind of a mixed bag. You're not gonna set records with them. They're $380 treadwear. Let's level up our budget now and look at tires between $600 and $800 per set. Starting off this level of the budget is the Continental DWS06 Plus. These are just under $800 a set. If you are looking for a solid year-round daily driver, this is a great contender. I've driven on this tire, and every condition imaginable, and the dry, the wet, snow, all aspects of the tire kick ass. They have a 50,000-mile warranty too, so Continental knows that they're gonna last. They're backing it up. Super low road noise and good performance in poor conditions is not a common combination, but our friends at Continental, they figured it out. As great as this tire is for daily driving, I'm not as stoked on it for the show scene. The tread pattern is functional, but it's not the sexiest. The sidewall is fantastic though, so if you are running a meaty setup, these will look great and you will get some street cred with a great brand like Continental on your car. Track guys, well, this is a good tire to look at for some weekend laps. We were able to rip some BMWs around a test facility with these, and they held up really well. Even after a bunch of hot laps and me not being so nice to the front tires under braking, they held up very well. I'm not really sure how they grip so well with a treadwear at 500, but they really do. Next up is a Nitto Neogen, and these come in around $700-ish per set. I used to have a Mustang GT with these tires, and they performed super well for daily driver duty. They're listed as an all-season, but I opted for a dedicated winter setup since they got kind of slippery once the temps went below 40 degrees, and we have it way below 40 degrees in Wisconsin. Even with the occasional burnout, in that Mustang, these tires held up well and they never let me down. They were also surprisingly quiet on the road. This is a good tire for you show guys to consider. I think the tread pattern is more appealing than the Continental, and Nitto is a great brand for any street cred out there. For you track guys, this is also a great option for you as well. They are grippier than Continental, which means they won't last as long, but you'll be able to have some serious fun out there on the track with these and take some corners with confidence. Lastly, in this budget category is the Falken RT615K Plus. These are coming in right under $800. This is one that for daily driver duty, we might want to find you a better option. They have a super low tread wear, which means they are grippy, but that comes at the expense of tire life. If you are just purely having a daily driver, this could get expensive. If you're really carving some canyons and don't want to fly off the side of a cliff, then I kind of look at these with a mix of daily driving and that fun kind of driving aspect. You show guys will like this tire. Falken is a solid brand, and the sidewall along with the tread pattern of this tire is sexy. JDM guys are especially familiar with Falken in the show scene, and it's for a good reason. This bad boy does run big to spec, so keep that in mind when you're dialing your Fitment. For the track, this is a killer option. I know myself and a bunch of other people who have ran this hard at the track with great results. They don't last forever with that 200 treadwear, but while you are using them, the grip is fantastic. They can get a little squirrely in the wet from my experience, but overall, a fantastic option for some lapping days and a great contender for dedicated track setup. Lastly, our final category, well, I just launched one in orbit there. Lastly, our final category with a price range of over $800 for a set starts here. First up is a freaking fantastic tire, which is the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. These are around $1,000 per set, but you do get a lot for that price point. These are some of my favorite daily driver tires, along with the Continental DWS06 Plus in the previous category. The tread wear on these is lower at 300, but the life of the tire is still great. I used to have a Jaguar XJ8 with these tires, and even with that heavy-ass car, they lasted a long time. These have very little road noise, and the ride quality is actually amazing. It's like having a little softer setting on your suspension. It's just super good, and I can't recommend them enough. This is a good tire too for the show guys out there looking to have a meaty setup. The tread profile isn't exciting, but in wider sizes looks intimidating, and the sidewall is pure classic Michelin perfection. It just looks so good. Even at 300 treadwear, this is a serious contender for a good track tire. Keep an eye on these as they wear though and get heat cycled, but overall a good tire for some decent track action. Next up, we have the second Continental on our list, which is the Extreme Contact Sport 02. We ripped around on these with some BMWs as well, and everything that was good with the DWS06 Plus gets turned up a major notch here. That includes the price, since these are around $900 per set. Where these excel for the track and look for the shows, they are a little harder to live with on a daily basis and are really just meant for non-cold weather driving. If you want to hit some track days, then definitely pick up a set of these, or if you have a weekend cruiser to kill some curvy roads, take a look at these tires. The last tire I have on this list is a Pilot Sport AS4 from Michelin. This is definitely geared towards the daily driver crowd, and honestly, if you're doing track or show stuff, I'd say get the Pilot Sport 4S from Michelin. This tire, the Pilot Sport AS4, is the ultimate for all-season wet and dry grip, along with some better grip in the white stuff. I'm talking about snow, guys. These have a higher tread wear of 540, which is why I'm not saying to get these for the track or show, but for a nice daily setup, you're going to have a hard time beating the Pilot Sport AS4 from Michelin. All right, that wraps up the list, but if you guys have questions, please ask in the comments, and I'll jump in there myself to answer them. If you want some specific recommendations, ask away, but please include some info on budget and intended use of the car that you have, or just give us a call. We'll help you out there. Thanks, guys.